Hello, hello and good morning. We've been down the fields doing the usual, and it's a bit cold really, cold and blowy. It really is a kind of autumn at the moment. We might have a summer yet, you know, like an Indian summer, who knows, we'll see. So I was just in the loo. I know. Well, I was having a stand-up in the loo, just finished, and Bodhi started barking like mad. Tells me, oh, that's the postman, it's got to be the postman. So go out there, and he said, morning mate, it's just one to sign for. Can you guess what it is? Can you guess what that is? Any ideas? But you can't guess, can you? So he said, hello mate, one to sign for. And I said, oh, cheers. And he said, in future, he said, your door's always open, isn't it? And I said, yeah, always. What it is, I've got a porch on the front, and I open it first thing in the morning, you know, unlock it, and I lock it back up last thing at night. So I said, yeah, it's always open. And he said, are you happy for me to sign for stuff? And I said, yeah, more than happy, you know. And he does it to all of them round here. It saves him carrying it around or taking it back and all the rest of it. So he just does a rough signature, pretends it's me, and then he can leave it in the porch, because there's no crime here whatsoever. So, which brings me on to, this is going to be my thoughts. There's no crime here whatsoever. Just remember that little bit. So I said, yeah, I said, that's no problem whatsoever. And we all look out for each other and all the rest of it, but there's never been a crime, so we're absolutely fine. So he said, that's what I'll do from now on. That's good to know, isn't it? We don't have to be disturbed. You can just sign for it, pop it in, and we're done. So I treated myself. Yeah, I treated myself. It is. Who's got it yet? Anybody? Okay, I'm teasing you just a little bit. There we go. Somebody's cutting a tree down, by the way, if you can hear some noise in the background. So this is Warpig. It's a Motorhead's emblem, really. Motorhead's whatever, but it's Warpig. Or Snaggletooth, they called him, didn't they? Yeah, it's just an ornament, really. I just really fancied it. I fancied it a while ago, and I thought it was a bit overpriced. And then I was just looking, and I saw one the other day. It's kind of a pewter. I saw it the other day, and I thought, yeah, go on, treat yourself. I thought, it is your birthday. Well, it will be one day, won't it? It will be my birthday one day. Snaggletooth. There you go. Did anybody guess what it was when I went like that? I doubt it. So yeah, I had to sign for that, but the postman will in future just sign for it and dump it in my porch. So wonderful. So I'm really happy with that, really pleased. So I mentioned about no crime. Serendipity. It's funny how things happen, isn't it? You know, you're going to talk about something and then something else happens. So this is another one of my thoughts. And this is from Tim, who says, Bri, what's your thoughts on city living? He says, you seem to have lived in both city and country. Is city living bad for your mental health? I live in a city and I hate it. I never seem to get any peace. What's your thoughts? So yeah, my thoughts on city living. I've lived in both. Yeah, I have. I've lived in city, town, village and hamlet now. So yeah, I've lived in the whole lot. And prior to that, obviously, I was in Ishi, so I went everywhere. You name it, you know, right off the beaten track, which I preferred more than anything, really. Is city living bad for your mental health? I live in a city and hate it. I never seem to get any peace. Is city living bad for your mental health? All depends really. I've got a friend who lives in a city that's really thriving and really busy, and he owns and runs something called is it a patisserie or whatever? He sells cakes and whatever. I'm just going to raise my arm on this chair. I've noticed it's slightly low. And he does bacon sandwiches in the morning, which are very nice, and all the rest of it. Now, he lives maybe he walks to work, maybe he's got 4 streets away, something like that. But it's, he loves the hubbub, the hassle, the noise, the energy of the city. He loves all of that. And I said to him one time, "You're really at home here, aren't you?" He said, "Yeah, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else." And I said, "You know what, it would drive me insane, you know. I could not cope." You know, I said, "But we're all different, and that's the whole thing, isn't it, really?" And he said the city is full of like life and energy and vibrancy and, you know, people rushing around. And I said, "Yeah, that's what I don't like, really." And I said, "Is there anything, could you pick one thing that you don't like about city living?" And he said, "Crossing roads." He's got 4 roads to cross to get to work, and he has to wait and wait and wait, trying to cross these busy roads and what have you. And he said it's really, really frustrating. And it's literally 24/7. You know, even when he closes up, if he closes up at 5:30, by the time he's cashed up and sorted out and what have you, it can be 7 o'clock. And still the roads are really, really busy. He said when it's raining or when it's cold and you've got to wait there and try to cross, and it's dangerous, you know, and everybody seems to be rushing. Well, they do, don't they, really? People do rush. So he said roads, he said crossing roads, which I never thought he would say. And I said, apart from that, what else is there? And he said there is no peace. He said, which most of the time I don't mind. But he's got not a garden, he's got an outside space, and he sits out there, and all you can hear really is roads and cars and noise. So he lives in a particularly busy part, you know, because he lives near to the shops and what have you. Obviously, that's his business, and you know, but he loves all the noise of people and things like that. He said people are always walking past the shop, and they're in and out, and there's all this stuff going on and things like that, and there's always something. 24/7 there's something happening, you know, but he loves all of that. So, Tim, you said, is city living bad for your mental health? Well, for my friend, no, it's not. Certainly not. He thrives on that. Yeah, he would like a little bit more peace, and he would like to be able to cross the bloody roads, but he thrives on that. I would absolutely hate it. Really hate it big time. It wouldn't work for me at all. Is it bad for your mental health? Not for most people. I mean, as I say, my mate, I mean, he's busy and he loves that. I was talking about no crime a few minutes ago, wasn't I, really? And there is no crime here. If you look at the gun crime, knife crime, murders, rapes, attacks on people, muggings, burglaries, car theft, arson attacks, whatever, they're going to take place where there's lots of people. They're not really going to take place in a little quiet hamlet where everybody knows everybody. It's not going to happen. And the reason why I smile is because we get, I think it's either a monthly or bi-monthly little magazine thing living here. Sometimes it's 1 page and sometimes it's 2. One part of it is called crime. And the crime is normally empty, but the crime that was in it this last time was somebody got a fraudulent email. So just to be aware that Barclays Bank, you know, do not require you to phone this number and give all your details. So it's a fraudulent email, which is a crime, I suppose, in itself, isn't it? I mean, I'm laughing, you know, it's not a laughing matter if you've been done, But obviously somebody got that email, and that was the crime that they're concerned about. Now, at the same time that that crime would have happened, in a city, somebody would have got murdered or raped or beaten up, or an arson attack or terrorist attack maybe, or, you know, we know that knife crime is huge at the moment, particularly cities. So I would be on guard if I lived there. It wouldn't be very good for my mental health if I lived there, wherever, any city, because I would feel that I'm on guard. I would feel that I could never let my guard down, never really relax fully. I would never get the peace that I get here, the quiet. It doesn't really exist in cities. My mate, he's got a park, right, and it's only across the road from him. And when you go there, and I've been there twice, right in the middle are 4 benches, 2 benches I think, but whatever, and you sit down, all you can hear is cars. That's all you can hear. Awful. But, you know, awful for me. So, for my mental health, yeah, it would have a detrimental effect. Of course it would. You know, I wouldn't be able to function. But some people love it. So, clearly it's good for their mental health. Some people thrive on all this noise. You know, I couldn't cope. Not me. Not for me. My thoughts on city living. Seem to live, yeah, I have lived in lots of areas. Is city living bad for your mental health? We've covered that. I live in a city and I hate it, and I never seem to get any peace. No, it's an odd thing, isn't it? You live in a city and you hate it. Don't live somewhere where you hate. You've got to question yourself, and I've spoken to certain friends about this who hate living where they live. And a particular friends of mine, a couple, live in a very, very large city and they hate it. And when we phone each other and what have you, they get chatting and they nearly always say they hate living there. And they always say, we're going to move one day, we're going to move to the country one day. And actually they've got no reason to live there. So, Tim, you hate it. Why do you live there? Do you live there because your work's there, or do you live there because your family's there? That's normally the only 2 reasons. But, you know, people commute to work. You'll probably find that wherever you live, within 30 to 40 minutes drive from where your house is, there's probably a beautiful place to live. So it would only take you 30 minutes to get to work. And if you jump on a train, maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I lived in Oxfordshire for a long time in Didcot, and there's a big train station there. And a lot of people move from London to Didcot, or the outskirts of Didcot, and they jump on a train, and it takes 47 minutes, I believe it is. No time, is it? So their little commute to work. In fact, I was speaking to a friend of mine, an Asian friend, and he was from London, moved to Oxfordshire, and he said, do you know what? He said, it's less time for me to walk from here down to the station, jump on a train, and go to London and walk to his office. That takes less time than it did take him to drive to his office, and he lived about 15 miles away. And now he moved because he wanted some solitude, he wanted some peace and quiet and trees, and he said the air is different and all the rest of it. So, you know, you can move. You know, we're not trees, we're not rooted in one spot. And I would say to anybody, if you hate where you live in, work out a way of moving. You know, there's always a way, and we can make so many excuses to remain wherever, and there really is no need. You know, if you're living in a town and you'd rather live in a village or a hamlet, do it. If you're living in a city and you'd rather move somewhere quiet, do it. You know, the countryside is a big area, and most places are connectable, roads, rail, etc., with the big places. For me, on a personal level, I would absolutely hate it. I really would. You should engineer your life, you know, as much as you possibly can. I've lived, these last 2 bungalows I've lived are in very, very quiet little, this is a hamlet, and the last place was a little village. Now, I only lived there and here because that is the places that I applied to live. I didn't apply to live in the middle of a city or a town. I couldn't even live in a town. I don't like the noise. I don't like lots of people. We've been out for a bit of a bimble and played the usual and all the rest of it. Didn't see a living soul. My friend across the road often wakes up about 3:30, 4 in the morning, and she got 2 dogs and she walks them, and she goes down, there's a little track down there and across the field and then back up round through the road, and she never sees anybody. You know, in fact, now if I left right now to go down the fields, and chances of meeting anybody is virtually nil, quite slim anyway, and she's perfectly safe doing that. Now, I just wonder, in the middle of a town or city, would she do that? In fact, she wouldn't do that because I know what she's like, but how safe is it for a lone female to go walking her dogs? You hear so many awful things that happen in cities and towns. I'm so far removed from all of that, you know. I'm a peaceful person, I have a peaceful life, and I want to live in a peaceful place. And also with peaceful people. I have noticed that village life is very slow, very calm, very thought out. People are friendly. People are always... just over there there's a house, and on his wall he's got apples and pears. Please help yourself. And every day he puts more apples and more pears. And that's lovely, isn't it? Please help yourself. Doesn't want anything. And there's, you know, down the road there, I go down to the fields, and if I see anybody in their garden, they come out and they have a little chat, and nice and relaxed, nice and peaceful. And they talk about nice things as well. You know, I think a city grates on certain people, it would me. And your conversation is a bit harsh, and you're harsh, and you know, you sit on a bus or on the subway and you don't make eye contact with people, don't speak to people. Yeah, no, it's not for me. I'm just sat here thinking about it. I would hate it. So Tim, you say you hate living there. Why are you there? What's stopping you from moving? Take care. I'll be back soon. Bye from Snaggletooth. Cheers. Be well.